Tonight on CTV News at 6. New stringent rules now coming into effect as of today in Wikwemikong as the First Nation looks to weed out drug activity in its territory. Plus, parks officials and politicians provide the latest on repairs to Samuel de Champlain Park.
Your government is investing $4.75 million to rebuild this park for the future.
It comes months after a devastating downburst causing millions in damage. And the 38th annual Edgar Burton food drive launches in Sudbury.
He inspires all of us to be kind and to give where we can.
The goal to make sure no one goes hungry this holiday season.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Rima and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Tony's off. New stringent security measures are coming into force as of today for those who live on Wikwemikong. In a message over social media, the community announced it would be increasing drone patrols, conducting random border checkpoints, and expanding its crisis response efforts. The tools are being recommended by the Drug Crisis Working Group and it has been endorsed by Band Council. All individuals are being warned they will have to present valid photo ID at the checkpoints. They add the actions will be in place leading up to and following the 2025 holiday gift payment distribution. A search of a home in Smooth Rock Falls has netted $50,000 worth of suspected crystal methamphetamine and cocaine. That from James Bay OPP, which says it conducted the search warrant yesterday on a home on 5th Street. A 40-year-old Smooth Rock Falls woman is now facing 2 counts of trafficking and had a bail hearing earlier today. In June of this year, the Samuel de Champlain Provincial Park endured a strong downburst that caused millions in damage and forced the government to close the park gates. Since then, Ontario Parks has been working to restore the provincial park. CTV's Madison Merrier has the latest on repairs.
It's taken months for park staff and politicians just to get to this stage.
I'm proud to announce a major revitalization of Samuel de Champlain Provincial Park. Your government is investing $4.75 million to rebuild this park for the future.
Thousands of trees line the roadways into the Samuel de Champlain Park, and where 100-year-old trees once stood are now uprooted and left as stumps.
This is an unprecedented investment for restoration because this was an unprecedented weather event. This was the most severe storm ever to hit one of our Ontario parks. So the devastation was just horrifying.
We've done a substantial tree removal as part of the recovery efforts. We are working towards restoring hydroelectrical services to the park, which we're nearing completion on that.
The downburst caused major devastation to the park and financial burdens to the nonprofit environmental and research facility on the land and the neighboring towns.
The Canadian Ecology Centre is a non-profit corporation, and our mandate is environmental education. So when you've not had revenue for 146 days, that's significant to anyone's business.
The park was devastated right at the beginning of the season, like right at the beginning. And so all of the shops and stores, businesses in Mattawa that rely on this park did not have that business this summer and this fall. And so it was a very tough season.
As part of the revitalization efforts, the province is planning on adding new features and equipment as well as operating year-round to help the park and nearby communities recover from the financial impact. However, no clear answer was given on when the park will reopen its gates to the public.
It's going to be a phased restoration beginning in 2026 and beyond. So parts of the park may well be open for some visitor use as early as this coming summer, but certainly progress will be made rapidly beyond that. In 2027 and 2028, we should be in a good place.
On the lighter side, park staff say the wildlife is already making a return on the now silent park. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Mattawa.
DIY Community Health Timmins opened its mutual aid site in July, but today, all those involved in making the site a reality came together for a ribbon-cutting ceremony. CTV's Lydia Chibak reports.
1, 2, cut.
The new mutual aid site in Timmins is now officially open. It's an exciting day for Jason Sarita, his team of volunteers and allies who all pitched in to turn a vision into reality.
We need spaces like this that understand that you're welcome despite any challenges or despite any crisis that you might be going through in your life. And the peers here, the people with the lived experience here, the members here, we're all there to support you, based on what we know to help you move with whatever recovery goals you might have.
Jay Brown is a volunteer support worker at the site.
I've been sober off of crack and cocaine for a couple of years now.
And he says he's ready to help anyone who walks in the door.
So I want them to realize that what we do a day doesn't matter. If there's always people there to reach out, it's whatever it is, but we're here to help anybody that needs it.
Officials with Timmins and area women in crisis say more spaces like this are needed in the city.
We're doing outreach work once a week, and then we come and do human trafficking outreach work more in the evenings once a week. So we're here twice a week just to be a presence, be available if there's any questions. If people don't feel comfortable walking into the Women's Crisis Center.
To ensure the site's sustainable, Sarita says more members and volunteers are needed. He welcomes anyone who's interested to connect with him to learn more about the services offered at the site. Timmins councillor and downtown BIA executive director Corey Robbins says many residents have big hearts but don't know what to do.
So when you see someone come up to you and they ask you for change for a coffee, you can do like I do and say, I don't have any change for you, but the DIY can give you some water. They can meet your basic needs.
DIY Community Health Timmins has yet to receive any government funding to build or operate the mutual aid site. Time and money has been donated for the cause. Sarita says if governments are interested in funding operations that are evidence-based and are creating positive outcomes, the mutual aid site would be a good fit. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
A report from Sault Ste. Marie's Integrity Commissioner says the council who made a social media post following Charlie Kirk's murder did not violate the city's code of conduct. Sioux City Councillor Angela Caputo made a post on her private Facebook page following Kirk's death, saying that while Kirk's death was horrible, quote, Charlie Kirk would have condoned what happened to Charlie Kirk, and that people should, quote, stop making it seem otherwise. 4 people lodged a complaint with the Integrity Commissioner saying her comments amounted to hate speech. The investigation concluded the comments did not reflect the allegations made against Caputo. The report also recommended the council look at creating a social media policy. The City of Greater Sudbury will be hosting a public consultation next week in Lively on a new recreation facility. The new facility in Lively will use the $4 million the city received after the sale of Meet Bird Lake Park to Valet in 2021. November 26th, the community will have a chance to see conceptual designs for 3 potential locations. The meeting will take place at the TM Davies Arena from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Those who can't attend the event will be able to review the plans on the city's website starting November 26th. Time for our first check on weather. CTV's Rick Wyman joins us now, and hate to put the pressure on you, Rick, but lots of little boys and girls out there looking to see if Santa will have a hard time getting here tomorrow.
Pressure, there's never any pressure on the weather guy, Ian. Never. You know that. You know that. Systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada right now, our system is moving out. We've got another moving in by about supper time tomorrow evening. Now, right now, the early forecast for Greater Sudbury for the Santa Claus Parade. Perhaps some light snow. Sault Ste. Marie, maybe some snow and a little bit of rain. Could be wet. So again, that's the early prognosis. That could change, of course, according to Environment Canada. We're crossing our fingers right now. But again, Ian, no pressure. We just do what we do. Back to you.
Everything is crossed. Thanks, Rick. Well, there's more to come on CTV News at 6. For now, let's go to a live shot of Algonquin Boulevard in Timmins, courtesy of the city. This shot from City Hall. No sign of flurries there. That is on the way, though. Trust us, it's going to happen. Stay with us. You're watching CTV Northern Ontario.
Ready to run with the pack? The Sudbury Wolves take on the Sarnia Sting Friday, December the 5th, and you could be in the stands. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to cheer on your favorite team. So, what are you waiting for? Enter now at CTVNewsNorthernOntario.ca and get ready to howl.
The Edgar Burton Christmas Food Drive launched its 38th campaign today. Over the years, it's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Sudbury Food Bank, and this year's drive is already off to a great start. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
That this encourages other businesses in town if they have the ability to do the same.
The drive kicked off with a $2,000 donation from Sudbury Credit Union and $10,000 from the newly formed Burton Family Foundation.
Aims to support arts and community and thinking about projects that we wanted to align with in this first quarter. The Edgar Burton was absolutely at the forefront of one of our missions. He inspires all of us to be kind and to give where we can. Sometimes it's not always easy, but one can makes a difference.
Edgar's daughters were at school one time and they learned about hunger in this region. And they went home that night and asked their dad, has he left Inco to say Valley now? Is there any way they could help? And his dad said, well, let me see what I can do.
38 years later, the drive continues to grow with over 400 businesses involved along with schools in the region collecting items. And now, for the first time ever, the drive has a QR code.
Although the focus is on cans, people still want to help. So the opportunity to give funds, if necessary, is available to you.
This will be Exelon's 28th and final food drive as he prepares to retire as executive director, with Sudbury City Councillor Natalie Labby taking over in 2026.
I am so proud to be part of the fabric of this city that we call Greater City of Sudbury and everything around in the region for their incredible willingness and ability to provide help when it's necessary.
This drive collects 25% of the food that is handed out by the food bank throughout the year. Last year's event collected over 94 tons, and as Edgar always said, this year's goal is one more can. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Ontario's education minister is facing criticism tonight for withholding the results of standardized testing across the province. The government says the decision was made to take what it calls a, quote, deep dive into the numbers. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
How many people had it in both?
It's the education system's annual report card. How well are kids grasping math, reading, and writing?
Soon we'll be releasing the EQAO results, so there's a lot more that has to happen in education to put it all back on the right path.
But the Education Quality and Accountability Office report is usually out earlier in the fall. The Minister of Education says he's been holding it back to do a deep dive and act on what he's seeing.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The minister could release the information and then still analyze it.
The Liberals say the system should be able to walk and chew gum.
I think he's hiding the results because the government's record in education isn't great.
Last year's EQAO results showed fewer students in grades 3 and 6 meeting literacy standards. Math scores were steady or slightly improving, but still low.
It's actually most importantly for kids, their educators and their families, so they can get the help that they need, if they need it, to learn.
The opposition calls this holdback part of a government pattern.
They do not think they need to be transparent with parents or with educators. They don't think they need to be accountable to us, and information sharing is something that is optional.
The Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario describes EQAO results as just a snapshot of one day.
Wanting to take a deep dive or really understand what's happening with a one-time assessment tool is concerning.
Bell believes the minister's time would be better spent taking a whole-of-child approach.
It means smaller classes. It means investing in having more professionals in our classroom so that we have the proper mental health support, so that we have the proper professionals besides our educators in the building to help students be successful.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Last night, we told you that Leah Sperry, a 7-year-old with a range of medical complications, finally received a bicycle thanks to an outpouring of financial support. Well, today, CTV's Corey Nordstrom got to witness the smiley cyclist in action.
It's been an exciting few days for little Leah Sperry. Her dream of having her very own bike has become a reality. The 7-year-old has defied the odds just by living this long, and now, thanks to the donations of 174 people, she's able to get her wheels in motion.
We never thought that we'd get her to this point in her life, so to see her do that is such an incredible feeling for our family and our friends and everyone that supported us along the way.
The girl who has spent nearly half of her life in a hospital bed is now enjoying the wind in her hair on a bike with many special modifications.
So this is for her oxygen tank, and then in the afternoons when she has her IV pump running, then we can also look after that. It originated from the UK. and then it had to go through a company in the States, and then go through many circles and chains, and it took a lot of effort, and a lot of people were working hard to get it here for her. So it did take about 5.5 months for the bike to get here.
If the winter weather holds off a little longer, Leah will be able to ride her bike alongside her older brother, something she's been dreaming of for a long time. And with Leah constantly looking to head out on her new wheels, her family is asking around to see where she can ride during the colder months.
We're contacting a few places that we're seeing if there's some generous people out there that have a large enough space that she can maybe ride it in this winter, where we're not going to hit people or cars, because we're still learning to steer a little bit.
The bike used less than half of the $29,000 raised by her GoFundMe, with the remaining funds heading towards specialized travel equipment so Leah can take the Make-A-Wish trip that she's been eligible for years. Summing up the gratitude for her whole family, Leah says,
"Thank you."
Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, a McCarroll man started a project to keep him busy in his retirement. 5 years later, he's taught himself skills he never anticipated. CTV's Madison Merrier has the story.
Someone asked me recently, when is it going to be finished? And I said, I don't think it's going to be finished.
Dave Howie has spent countless hours building miniature versions of Northern Ontario sites that his railroad could interact with to keep himself busy during retirement.
I realized I've got 24 hours a day and I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting in front of a computer, just, it's not productive, not safe for my mental health. So I decided I'm going to build a railroad that I've never had a chance to build before.
What started as a hobby quickly grew to an immense skill set.
I learned how to do the electricity for them, underneath like wiring from underneath. And then there was learning how to build models, learning to use the laser cutter, learning to use the 3D printer, the 2 3D printers that I have. So over the course of the years, I've amassed a lot of skills just to do this.
Howie then decided to start sharing ways of cutting costs on an expensive hobby. This began a new learning project of video editing, lighting, and more.
The YouTube channel, the main goal was to show people how to do this cheaply. Because it gets very expensive very, very quickly. Like an engine, the latest engine I bought was $300. So that, and I've got about eight engines, all roughly that price tag. So it's learning how to do this cheap.
His online community has grown over the years, but his hobby has expanded outside of his world as well.
I think it's incredible. I think it's just great to see that folks take the time to replicate something in that way, and it really just goes to show you that we have a lot of interest in our area, and that a lot of folks are very proud of it, of the history that we have here.
Howie plans to add to the project long term and will continue to take inspiration from nearby cities and towns and rebuild again and again to ensure his scale of 1/160. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Espanola.
Back now for a check on the current conditions with Rick Wyman. And Rick, I'm not exactly the snow guy, so I'm enjoying the no flurries here at the moment.
You're lucky right now. I mean, we've caught a break in the month of November, but I've got a funny feeling by the end of next week that could change. We could get some flurry activity. Periods of snow, we'll get into that in the 7-day forecast. This is what we've got going on right now. By about 6 o'clock Sunday, more sleet. We've got some rain, we've got some flurries and what have you, but that could all change by next week. Let's take a look at some of the currents this hour. Moosonee -2, Cochrane -2, and Timmins at -3. We've got some light precipitation as well. Kapuskasing -2, Chapleau -4, Wawa -1, and Sault Ste. Marie also at -1. Not a terribly cold evening. Parry Sound at 2 with just a few clouds. Meanwhile, in North Bay, -1 in Temiskaming Shores, -2 in Kirkland Lake as well. -1, Greater Sudbury Nickel Belt, some precipitation in Espanola at -1. Elliott Lake, some light snow at -2, and Gore Bay 0, mainly cloudy skies. 7-day forecast and the pick of the day coming up. Ian, back to you.
Thanks, Rick. Next on CTV News at 6. Students and staff are injured in a grizzly bear attack while on a school trip in BC. And Prime Minister Mark Carney wraps up a 2-day trip to Abu Dhabi. A grizzly bear attack on a school group in the remote BC community of Bella Coola has left several people hospitalized, including 2 reported to be in critical condition. CTV's Scott Hurst has more.
It is a terrifying attack that has left a small BC community on edge. A grizzly bear attack injuring multiple students and at least 1 teacher. Of the 4 injured in the bear attack, 3 are children, 1 is an adult. Another 7 people were cared for at the scene. At the time of the attack, the students and the teachers, approximately 20 of them, were having lunch along a trail by the river in the remote community on BC's central coast when the grizzly apparently emerged from the forest and attacked. What prompted the bear to charge the group is not yet known at this time. According to the BC Conservation Officer Service, multiple teachers intervened. They used pepper spray and a bear banger to stop the attack and get the grizzly away from the students. The injured were initially treated in the community, but are being transported to Vancouver for further care. A spokesperson for the local school district told CTV News the attack involved an independent school run by the Newhalk First Nation. Conservation officers tried to locate the grizzly overnight, but no luck in tracking it down as of yet. Preliminary information suggests the bear may have been previously injured. Efforts to capture and assess the bear are continuing today.
Captured mitigation techniques have been set to capture and evaluate the bear in question. We recognize this incident is distressing for the community. We are in close contact with the Newhalk Nation as our investigation continues.
Today in the community, the school is closed, but the district says it is doing what it can to provide support and counseling services. The public is being asked to avoid the area surrounding the incident and remain indoors until further notice. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
The Prime Minister wrapped up a 2-day visit in Abu Dhabi aimed at strengthening economic ties between Canada and the United Arab Emirates.
The President, His Royal Highness, and I agreed to launch our Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA, the opportunity to take our partnership to a new level, and we will deliver on that in the next year.
Carney says his government is working on a $1 billion project to expand Canada's processing capacity of critical minerals. Carney says Canada has also secured the equivalent of $70 billion worth of investments from the UAE. The funding is part of a bilateral investment framework agreement, but details on a timeline have not been released. Prime Minister Mark Carney also landing in South Africa for the G20 summit. Carney will be looking to build on the priorities Canada held throughout its G7 presidency year. It will be his first time taking part in a G20 since becoming Prime Minister, and is also the first time the major global forum is being held on the African continent. However, the talks at the G20 have been undermined by a rift between host South Africa and the United States over a Trump administration boycott. In Halifax today at the International Security Forum, Defense Minister David McGuinty was questioned about U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekster's comments that the future of trade talks hinge on our purchase of the F-35 fighter jets.
The review of the F-35 acquisition project continues. It is one that is going to take the time it's going to take. We're going to get this right. This is a major acquisition for Canada. And this is something that I've stated unequivocally on many occasions before. The review continues.
Canada's a sovereign nation. They will make up. They'll make up their minds as to what the best plan is for Canada. You heard my views on how to build our defense cooperation moving forward, which is to build on the strategy that we've had in place for 50 years. Interoperability, interchangeability, and joint. And those words are all there in describing exactly how the F-35, an international plane that Canada bought in from the beginning, that it characterized a hallmark of how defense cooperation between the U.S., Canada, and other countries really, really works well.
That was Hoekstra earlier this week suggesting that changing the F-35 deal could impact the relationship between Canada and the U.S. Canada has committed to purchasing 88 F-35 jets in a deal inked in 2023, but the federal government is reviewing the deal and signaled it may diversify its fleet by purchasing fighter jets from a Swedish defense company. There's more news ahead, but first here's your full weather forecast with Rick Wyman.
The ever-changing weekend weather is finally here. Forecast radar, and you'll see some of the changes. Here's that system that we talked about last night, and yet another is approaching. This is the one that will take over on Saturday evening into Sunday. So again, we've got some sleet conditions, some showers, some flurries, and again, the change continues in the month of November with the ever-changing weather that we've had over the course of the last couple of weeks. Overnight in Greater Sudbury, chance of sleet in the Sioux, Timmins, chance of flurries, chance of sleet to Miskaming Shores, and chance of sleet in North Bay. The sleet is here this weekend. Moosonee, chance of flurries, Caphurst, chance of flurries in Wawa, chance of sleet in Gore Bay and Perry Sound, chance of sleet. A lot of people wondering, what's sleet all about? We've got showers, we've got flurries, that is sleet. Sudbury, Nickel Belt. Okay, sun and cloud tomorrow with 0, chance of sleet on Sunday. Monday, cloud cover, periods of rain Tuesday. Wednesday, chance of sleet, and again, the chance of flurries. That is your forecast for the next couple of days. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of flurries, chance of showers, some cloud cover again Monday. Then periods of rain. It will be wet across the northeast come Tuesday. Wednesday, periods of snow, then the chance of flurries on Thursday. Let's have a peek now at Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Chance of flurries for tomorrow. Chance of flurries again on Sunday. Some cloud cover Monday. Chance of sleet on Tuesday. Wednesday, how about some periods of snow and some flurry activity at 60% come next Thursday. The temperature dipping down to a high of only -5. To Miskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake. Sun and cloud for tomorrow. Chance of sleet, 60% come Sunday. Monday, some cloud cover again. Tuesday, periods of rain at 4, periods of snow Wednesday. Then the chance of flurries at 40% by next Thursday with a high of only -4 degrees. Now North Bay, West Nipissing. Sun and cloud for tomorrow, -1. Chance of sleet on Sunday. Monday, sun and cloud at 4, periods of rain Tuesday, chance of sleet 60% Wednesday, and Thursday chance of flurries with a high of -2. So almost a copy and paste forecast throughout northeastern Ontario. We start off with a bit of sunshine, get some sleet, then maybe some sun and cloud, periods of rain, chance of sleet, and the flurries will continue once again. Let's have a pick of the day right now as we wrap things up on this Friday. Claire Ann Greco. Beautiful shot, north shore of Lake Ramsey. Thank you, Claire Ann, for that. It's a great shot. It's certainly indicative of the type of the ever-changing weather that we have here in northeastern Ontario. So perhaps your pick can make it this coming Monday. Stick around for a lot more news. Ian Campbell is up next.
It was all hands on deck yesterday as Northern Ontario Chiefs of Police gathered to launch the Festive RIDE program. With the holiday season fast approaching, their message to drivers: impaired driving is not okay. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
Consuming local, please. Showing solidarity as one force, 4 Northern Ontario Chiefs of Police were joined by the OPP, Anishinaabeg Police, and the UCCM Anishinaabe Police, all sharing the same message.
Impaired driving and collisions and deaths caused by impaired driving is preventable.
The Festive RIDE launch is happening all across Ontario. Officers want drivers to know police will be cracking down.
There's so many alternatives to getting behind the wheel. It's up to individuals to make that choice. Plan ahead, have a safe ride home.
Statistics from the MTO's annual preliminary road safety report found that in 2023, over 600 people were killed due to impaired driving. Nearly 100 people are injured every day in Ontario as a result of impaired driving collisions.
I've lost an uncle Christmas morning to impaired driving, and my grandparents were also both killed by a drunk driver.
Impaired by drug is really starting to climb because we have greater capabilities now to go out there and target it.
If caught driving at or above a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08, A first-time offender may face an immediate 90-day license suspension, with the vehicle being impounded for 7 days and a $550 fine.
Locally in Sudbury, our numbers are up around 300, and we just launched our Safe Ride Home holiday festive campaign.
If you are 21 years old or under, or have a G1, G2, M1, or M2 license, you cannot have any drugs or alcohol in your system before getting behind the wheel.
We all have to work together to eliminate, as much as we can, any drinking and driving.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Santa Claus is busy checking his list, seeing who's naughty or nice, and the military men and women at 22 Wing Canadian Forces Base North Bay are gearing up for his worldwide journey and flyover of Canada. The NORAD crew tasked with tracking Santa was going over final inspections of their radar equipment, satellites, and infrared sensors today. They're making sure everything is in place for Christmas Eve. Tracking Santa's journey has been a tradition since 1955, when a young child dialed a misprinted phone number and the call rang to the Continental Air Defense Command Operations Center in Colorado.
We're having all of our technicians double, triple, and quadruple check, because this is, quite frankly, in my opinion, one of the most important things we do through the year. It is a no-fail mission, much like the rest of our NORAD mission, but there is no way that we are going to let any of the children of the world down and miss Santa for 1 second of his journey across Canada.
The NORAD Tracks Santa website will go live on December 1st and will be available in 9 languages. In 2022, there were over 9 million users on it. Well, last-minute preparations are underway for the Sault Ste. Marie Santa Claus Parade. It's back to tradition now that the renovations on Queen Street are complete. The yearly kickoff of the holiday season will see plenty of floats, lights up the downtown, made up by schools, businesses, and of course, Santa Claus aboard the Rotary float. This year's event is an hour earlier than normal to not overlap with the Sioux Greyhounds game, where they're retiring Jeff Carter's number 7. Organizers hope the two can increase one another's crowd size, adding that this has been a good year for float participation.
Well, it's a lot better when you have a lot of good floats. People put a lot of effort into them. Apparently this year we've got about 55 floats, which is as big a parade as we've had at Christmas time. So we're really looking forward to it, and I think there's going to be a lot of good floats this year.
And for the parade, Queen Street East from Churchill Boulevard to Church Street will be closed tomorrow from 3:30 to 7 p.m. The closure on Queen will extend to Gore Street as starting at 5:30, and Lower Church Street from Queen to the waterfront will be closed from 4 to 6 p.m. for the Santa Claus Parade. Festivities get underway at 5 p.m. The Sudbury Santa Claus Parade is also set for tomorrow, and just a reminder tonight about the road closures in the downtown core for the parade. The marshalling area will close one southbound lane of Notre Dame Avenue from 1 p.m. Saturday. The downtown roads on the parade route, which includes portions of St. Anne Road, Elgin, Durham, Larch, Lisker, and Elm Streets, will all be closed as of 3 p.m. Parking is not permitted along the parade route beyond that time. Still ahead tonight on CTV News at 6. A big win for one of our own OHL teams on the ice. We'll show you some of the action coming out of North Bay after this.
Hockey This Week is brought to you by Rastall Nut and Bolt Company. We're talking milestones on Hockey This Week, and of course, a recent milestone was set just the other day. Thomas Mercier, of course, the broadcaster for the NOJHL's Sudbury Cubs, did his 300th game. NOJHL game 300. That's a milestone. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Great to be back, Rick. Thanks for having me.
And congratulations, milestone. So what went through your mind last Thursday evening at Countryside Arena in Sudbury?
Well, there was a lot of emotion, and there was a lot going on behind the scenes. You know, working a full-time job, I was looking forward to getting to the rink later that night. And, you know, as soon as I got to the rink, immediately bombarded by everyone with congratulations and handshakes and hugs. It was very overwhelming. And then I was surprised that I was going to go on the ice and be honored before the game was supposed to start. Yeah, it was an amazing night. It's one I'll never forget. And, you know, I'm forever grateful to the Cubs management for letting me do this for 300 games now, and hoping to do 300 more down the road.
Okay, tough ask right now. What is your most memorable game ever?
In terms of games that I've done in the NOJHL, the most memorable one I think would have to be Game 7 against Hurston last year's final. It was my first ever Game 7. I've never done that before. That was something I wanted to cross off my bucket list. And it just so happened to be for the League Championship and for a trip to Calgary at the Centennial Cup. That's a game I'm going to remember forever. There were a lot of emotions in the rink, a lot of emotions before and afterwards, especially with the Cubs winning the championship again. That's a game I will hold near and dear to my heart until I go to my grave. And it's a memory that's going to last a lifetime for myself and a lot of players.
Well, I saw you that night at Countryside Arena, and you were certainly emotional. Has there been one individual that you've tried to pattern your play-by-play after in terms of maybe emulating what they can do, NHL or maybe even lower-level hockey?
I try not to mold my broadcasts on anyone because, no one ever, I never want to be known as the next blank name. I want to be my own person. I want to make it my own broadcast and be my own self. So, but I do listen to other broadcasters at many different levels. Obviously grew up with Joe Bowen in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Randy Hahn from the San Jose Sharks is another one I've listened to very closely. There's a lot of people that, I have gotten, a lot of, I guess, kind of expertise just listening to their games on the TV. And I guess in a way I did kind of mold after them. But for me, I try not to be anyone. I just try to be myself when it comes to broadcasting. And I think that's what any person that's aspiring to be a broadcaster should do, is be themselves and be in the moment and just go with the flow.
Thomas, congratulations once again. And here's to your next milestone at 500. Thomas Mercier, of course, the play-by-play broadcaster with the Greater Sudbury Cubs of the NOJHL. We're back in 7 days with more Hockey This Week.
I'm sure Thomas enjoyed calling last night's game as the Sudbury Cubs won 10-1 over the Iroquois Falls Storm. Mason Walker had a stellar game, 2 goals and 2 assists, while Owen King netted a hat trick. Iroquois Falls will look to rebound in Espanola tonight. They take on the Paper Kings at 7:30. The Timmins Rock are rolling into Powassan for a 7 o'clock tilt against the Voodoos. The Sioux Eagles are in Noelville tonight to face off against the French River Rapids, while the Blind River Beavers will look to dam up the Kirkland Lake Gold Miners. Both those games are 7 o'clock starts. It was a good, strong way for the North Bay Battalion to start off last night as they faced off against the London Knights in front of the hometown crowd. Take a look at this.
The NHL draft, taking a goaltender second round. That's lofty praise. And there's a quick shot and a goal off the faceoff.
Ryder Carey would be the first to get the troops on the board with an unbelievably beautiful shot there. His first of 2 goals of the night. It would be followed up just 2 minutes later with Liam Medovsky finding the back of the net. Carey would go on to be the #1 star of the game as North Bay goes on to win its matchup 5-2. The troops hit the road tonight. They'll be facing off against the Generals in Oshawa at 7:05. The London Knights continue their north road swing in Sudbury tonight. Game time at the Sudbury Community Arena is 7:05. We have some developing news. The Ontario Hockey League has suspended Brampton Steelheads player Luke Dragosica for the remainder of the regular season and the playoffs after he struck an opposition player in the head in a game last week.
Working down the right side. Shot stopped by Bowen. The rebound, though, pops out. Dragosica goes down behind the net, as does Blasig, and oh my, Dragosica just slashed Blasig in the head.
Dragosica receiving a match penalty for slashing on the play with a little more than 2 minutes remaining in the third period against the Oshawa Generals. On November 14th, he will also miss the entire playoffs. The player injured on the play from Oshawa is Brady Blasik. He was able to leave the ice with help and did play in Oshawa's next game.
That's what he was angry about.
Teams from around the province are in Greater Sudbury this weekend for the annual Invitational Ranked Ringette Tournament. Organizers say over 70 teams are playing at 4 different arenas in the city in age categories ranging from 8 years to adult. They say the event is a big boost for the sport in the north and a boom for hotels and restaurants in the city.
Don't have the official numbers, but most hotels are booked. We have over, I think, 20-some teams and hotels from out of town, and some coming in tomorrow. So it's pretty big. We got all our divisions are between 6 to 10 team divisions.
Championship games, the A, B, and C categories will be played Sunday at Countryside Arena. An Oscar-winning actress turns 80, and we get a glimpse of the new Hunger Games prequel with David Daniel in tonight's Hollywood Report.
Let the 50th Hunger Games begin!
The first teaser trailer is out for The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. Joseph Zada plays the young Hamish Abernathy, played by Woody Harrelson in earlier films. The prequel, which takes place 24 years before the first Hunger Games movie, is due in theaters next November.
I gotta believe there is something bigger for me right around the corner.
Listen, you are living in a dream world.
The Friends spin-off Joey didn't last long. The sitcom was canceled during its second season, and its final 8 episodes never aired. Nearly 20 years later, fans can now watch those episodes, along with the rest of the series, on the Friends YouTube channel.
Goldie Kurt, straight ahead.
Goldie Hawn is celebrating a milestone, her 80th birthday. The Oscar-winning actress began her career as a dancer and rose to fame on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, before starring in dozens of films, including Private Benjamin, Death Becomes Her, and The First Wives Club. Happy 80th birthday, Goldie Hawn. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Canada Post is reporting another massive loss, this time for the third quarter loss of more than $541 million. That's the largest quarterly loss in the company's history. The company says ongoing strike activity has driven customers to competitors, and that has led to declining revenues of nearly 40%. Nearly all of the year-to-date losses were incurred in the second and third quarters, reflecting the significant impact the labor uncertainty has had on the business. Well, stocks bounced in Toronto and New York today, but it was a tough week for investors. BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has more on that.
Hello there. U.S. and Canadian shares rose just under 1% today on renewed hopes for a U.S. interest rate cut next month. But America's S&P 500 index dropped 2% this week, and Toronto was down about 0.5% as investors backed away from soaring artificial intelligence stocks and dumped cryptocurrencies. Chip seller Nvidia came out with yet more rosy growth projections, but its shares are still down 6% in the past 5 trading sessions. Here are the closing numbers. The Canadian dollar changed hands at 70.96 US cents, up a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $58.06 US a barrel, down 94 cents. And Western Canadian Select oil, by our latest fix, was at $46.20, down 33 cents. The TSX Composite finally ended at 30,160.65, up just over 254 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $13.26, closing the day at $40.65.21 US an ounce. Silver down 64 cents to end the day at $50. Copper down a nickel, $4.85, and nickel up 7 cents, ending the day at $6.54 US a pound. Time now for one last look at the weekend weather we have in store for us. In Sudbury, we are looking at partly cloudy conditions tomorrow with 0 degrees. Not too bad for that Santa Claus parade. Timmins, a slight chance of flurries at -2. Sault Ste. Marie, you are also in the parade category. 3 degrees, even better, although you will see a slight chance of flurries. Heading over to North Bay, -1 and partly cloudy. Parry Sound, a slight chance of flurries, but a warm one down there, and 3 degrees along the Georgian Bay coastline. Temiskaming Shores, I hear there may be a parade in your neck of the woods as well. You have -2 with partly sunny conditions. Overall, should be a nice lead-in into that weekend. The second annual Little Kickers Wonderland fundraiser in Sudbury brought in a huge donation for Our Children, Our Future, and crowned a mascot champion. Bear a Medic stole the show, taking top spot in the Soccer Skills Challenge, with Howler, Lenny the Lion, and Inspector Musso rounding out the top 4. The biggest winner of all was Our Children, Our Future, who received nearly $7,000 from the event hosted at Cambrian College. And Santa made an early appearance in the Sioux at the city's annual tree lighting.
3, 2, 1.
This was the scene last night down on the courthouse lawn, and it was certainly proof that a little rain couldn't stop the magic. There was late night shopping downtown, entertainment, a fire, and a visit from even the big man in red. That's him, Santa. We're not talking Bonsu, although Bonsu was also there. Looks like a lot of fun had by all. There's Bonsu. That's our newscast this Friday evening. Amanda Hicks is in tonight with your late 11:30 news. Make sure to tune in honor of the big Santa Claus parades coming up tomorrow in Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie and across Northern Ontario. We leave you with a little Dan and Shay with their Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Thanks for watching. And Sudbury, I'll see you tomorrow evening down on the parade route. Good night.
All right, boys, Santa's on his way. Listen to me. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not